Okay, so let's see how many subscribers I can lose from making this video. This is going to be quite fun. So please let me know with a dislike and a comment below how much you hate me for saying this, and I'll try to get off on it. Here we go. On the nature of women. Hypergamy. The action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person of a superior sociological or educational background. Briffault's law maintains that the woman, not the male, the female, not the male, determines all conditions of the animal family. Where the female can derive no material benefit from association with the male, no such association takes place. Dating apps. Studies show that only the top 10% of men are attractive to 90% of women in our society. 80% of divorces are initiated by women, who primarily cite financial reasons. To women, men are tools. Women are aroused by money, power, status, height, strength, intelligence, confidence. Women don't love the man himself, but only what the man can do for her. Ask your woman, without tipping her off beforehand that you're upset, ask the woman what she loves about you, and she will list things that you do for her, or feelings that you cause in her. Nothing of your own character or your own existence. Only what she benefits from or she feels. Meaning, a woman's love and arousal for you is based in her desire for material benefit or protection. All females are mercenary to the highest bidder. If a woman can get more from destroying a man than from sparing him, she will destroy him. Like a spider, the females will eat the males. Or a mantis, the females will eat the males. Or an octopus, the females will eat the males. No matter what previous sacrifice a man has made for a woman, once the future no longer shows him being able to provide or benefit her, she will cut him out. No matter what her prior promises or claims of love. If you as a man lose your power, wealth, or status, you will lose your woman. This is not a pity party, this is a fact. This is a series of facts. You can verify this. It destroys your belief in love and gender, but this is actually objectively true. I believe. You don't have to believe in it, but this is genuinely true. Okay. Solipsism. The view or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist. The quality of being self-centered or selfish. To women who generally struggle with thinking abstractly compared to the majority of men, if she doesn't feel it, it doesn't exist. If you see the world through anything but her emotions, you're wrong and probably evil. Subjectivity. The quality of being based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes, or opinions. The quality of existing in someone else's mind rather than the external world. Women tend to choose work with people rather than things. For example, to be nurses or psychologists, as opposed to men with engineers and bricklayers. When small boys are playing with blocks, girls are playing with dolls, practicing social forms of manipulation as men practice manipulation of the physical elements. Women are wired to do their work in the realm of the subjective. Most women don't fully believe in the existence of an objective world or universe that exists outside of human perception. Women can't subordinate their desires to reality. Not won't. Can't. Women survive by finding men who have tackled the objective world and won great wealth or power from it and offering sex to those men. Women can't understand a man's struggles to create or to prove himself because women don't do that. They've never done that. Women wait at the finish line and fuck the winners. Female vulnerability myth of. Farrell observes various characteristics of modern US society, such as the tendency to assign higher risk jobs to soldiers, firefighters, coal miners, and so on to men. Almost all of the most hazardous professions are all male, and segments within professions have higher percentages of men as their level of hazard increases. Other statistics, in conjunction with the lack of public outcry or mobilization around them, point in the same direction of male expendability. Men are victims of violent crime twice as often as women are, and 3 times more likely to be murder victims. Suicide rates are much higher for men than women. While the death rates of breast cancer and prostate cancer are comparable, the US spends 6 times more on breast cancer. Women are safer, freer, and far better cared for than men in our society. Yet they claim, and most people believe, that women are the vulnerable and oppressed sex. Women's belief in their victimhood is a constant. No reason or proof is required. They all believe they are victims, and they all believe that victimhood is sacred. The myth of female vulnerability is one of women's greatest powers, and it lets them more easily use men's resources and men's lives for women's benefit. Neoteny. The retention of juvenile features in the adult animal. Women retain high-pitched voices, soft features, large eyes relative to a man's to make them look more childlike, to trigger a man's protective instinct. Makeup is a way of exacerbating this trait, making women look even younger, even softer featured, and even larger eyed. They also deliberately pitch their voices high and use soft tones. This boosts women's power over the subjective, increasing their power of social manipulation, helping women manipulate men and society. There's a direct relationship between women's youth and beauty and women's power. Collectivism. The practice or principle of giving a group priority over each individual in it. The ownership of land and the means of production by the people or the state as a political principle or system. Women exist largely by siphoning off resources created by men, in terms of physical resources, food, water, shelter, and so forth. Women are basically parasitic. To a parasite, freedom means death. So women oppose freedom. They oppose individualism on the whole. Look at the voting patterns. In a democracy, it's the majority that actually matters. So they oppose free speech and thought on the whole. Women are collectivist in that way, on the whole. They oppose the free market on the whole, and are in favor of social programs that seek to nationalize industry, take from the producers and give to the non-producers, which are majority women. Most people who receive welfare, Medicare, pensions, and so forth are women, and most people who pay taxes are men. Okay, at least in the majority, and again in democracy it's majority rules. Freedom is only a direct benefit to those who deal with objective reality, those who need to understand objective truth, like those who work in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, those who work with metal or stone or earth, or farmers or bricklayers or mechanics, for example. All these fields have very few women, and the more power women as a class get, the more these essential services are regulated and socialized out of all productivity. The communist takeover of Russia was instituted by women's marches and women's political rights. Women's instincts drive leftism. They oppose freedom. Now, I don't say that freedom is an objective good, but if life, then freedom. So, women's instinct is actually directly opposed to life. Their political instinct, I should say. It's ironic that the ones who birth us should also be the ones who are probably going to end us. Women's abilities, physical, mental, and moral. Physically, women's world soccer champions, basketball champions, hockey champions teams, they regularly lose to 15-year-old high school boys. Similarly, in weightlifting and running, etc., men's records obliterate women's. And when men are led into the UFC fighting rings under the guise of trans rights, they demolish those women. Women who can pass the male standard to enter the military troop are rare. And there are no women who get into the top levels of Marines or Rangers or things like that. There have been attempts to get women into them, even to lower the standards, but women can never get close. In a violent conflict like actual combat, women tend to freeze or panic, and then the men around them, from their protective instinct, abandon the mission to try and protect the female soldiers. The whole unit dies, very often. Mentally, like in chess tournaments, in video game tournaments, or the highest levels of mathematics and physics, in technological intervention, women are basically useless. It is believed that women and men have the same average IQ, but the tales are more spread out, i.e. more male geniuses and more male idiots. Actually, all of these tests are done on children and teenagers who haven't finished developing yet, mostly on 11 to 13-year-olds. Women develop mentally several years earlier than men. Women also tend to hit puberty a year or two earlier than men. Women at age 11 and men at age 13 on average. So IQ tests, well, depends on the race, but about that. So IQ tests done on boys and girls age 13 will yield vastly different results than the same tests done on 17-year-old boys and girls, or 25-year-old men and women. But they don't do these sort of broad IQ tests on people so old, because it would reveal an average of 4 to 5 IQ points higher in adult men than women. I'll say it again. Women, on average, at the age of 13, have a once-in-a-lifetime developmental advantage in which they have developed earlier and a little bit further, but, same as with height, once you get to about 17, the boys have leapfrogged ahead, and they never reach parity again. Same with IQ. Morally. Okay, Kohlberg's stages of moral development. Justice-based morality. The 6 stages are obedience and punishment orientation, individualism and exchange, good interpersonal relationships, maintaining the social order, social contracts and individual rights, universal principles. People develop more moral growth along these steps as they get older, but not everyone reaches all 6 stages. Many men are only going to make it to stage 4 or 5, few make it all the way to 6. But women rarely make it past stage 3. A feminist psychologist called Carol Gilligan came after Lawrence Kohlberg and remade his moral development chart. She removed stages 4 through 6 and renamed the first 3, retitled the system Care-Based Morality, and recontextualized it as an entirely different moral system, thus claiming women weren't morally inferior, just different. 1. Individual survival. 2. Care and responsibility for others. 3. Balance of self and others. Look closely. She's just reworded Kohlberg's first 3 stages and removed the last 3, which is exactly the limit of female morality described by Lawrence Kohlberg in the first place. If you need to know what care-based morality entails, look up any family court in the West post-1960s. Care-based morality is literally just prejudice for the in-group and against the out-group. That's women's moral cap. Women are physically, mentally, and morally inferior to men. They are so delusional, mercenary, and utterly opposed to freedom. Yes, even your mother. Even the women you love. It's not their fault, but it's true. If a child watched a movie about talking dogs and then got a dog and became furious and hurt because the dog wouldn't talk to him, it's not the dog's fault. The dog can't talk. The story that the boy believed was a lie. If you expect a woman to be able to understand and appreciate what you are, or what you sacrifice for her, or to love you for you, she can't. You may be furious and hurt when you eventually realize the truth, but that's not her fault. Women are not now, and have never been capable of justice, objectivity, individuality, or anything that a man would recognize as real love. Those traits are masculine exclusively.